Now, employment visas. This is where it gets this is where the Chamber of Commerce will go crazy on this, but I'm going to ask you. If you've got an occupation that has more than 5% unemployment, and in that occupation, wages have not risen, do you have a labor shortage? I mean, this is what the businesses say. We give away 140,000 permanent work permits every year without any regard to what the unemployment rate is. So what we're proposing is that we have a national website. If you want to bring in a foreign worker, either permanent or temporary, you go on a national website, you post it so that everybody in the country can see it. And it has to be posted how many Americans you turned down before you insisted on bringing in a foreign worker. You can only do it in an occupation that has less than 5% unemployment, and only if the wages have been rising in that occupation. Because if the wages aren't rising in that occupation, that suggests we're not letting the market work. So we have an exception. People who find, if you can really show that somebody is the top 5% of their profession or their field, you know, we always have room for the top sort of world geniuses. But we've got to do something about the 140,000 a year that come in, most of whom only have to have 2 years of experience in their field. That's what we call skilled immigration, 2 years of experience in their field. You don't have to have a college degree, just 2 years of experience. Unfortunately, not a single member of Congress has been willing to introduce anything during this jobs depression. When Tom Tancredo was in Congress, he introduced every Congress a moratorium bill that deals exactly with this. So there are a lot of good members of Congress that will never vote for an amnesty and that will sign on to many of these bills. But right now, we don't have a co-champion. We do not have a co-champion. So if you've got a good guy, gal in your district, you need to put more pressure on them. I mean, that's the thing. It's like when you get somebody's good, they're almost never good enough, right? And you got to keep pushing them. You got to help them see they have to deal with this. Now, illegal immigration. You notice I'm stressing the legal because it's the thing that we so often act like. You always hear politicians say, "I'm against illegal immigration, but we need more legal immigration." Or if we had more legal immigration, we'd have less illegal immigration. Well, it's all part of the same thing. If we're trying to put Americans back to work, well, it doesn't matter much whether they're legal or illegal. Why are we displacing, driving wages down for American workers? Remember, these 25 million, these are not people that are on the sidelines. These are people looking for work. One more thing about these people looking for work. The worst unemployment figures are in the 18 to 29 age group. What needs to happen, and especially among those people who don't have a college degree, they need to get their feet on the ground floor. They need a bottom-run job. They need an entry-level job. They need to learn what it is to work, what it is to get a paycheck, what it is to manage. They need to not learn what it is to be a dependent on the taxpayer systems. But what we do with immigration, what we have been doing for 30 years, is flooding the occupations that are the places where the 18 to 29-year-old, less educated Americans would get their foothold. And consequently, the unemployment is higher and higher. If they don't become a worker during that period of time, they probably will never will. We are developing a nation of slackers and dependents. So this is a big economic issue.